Hey, Mrs., are you all right?
I thought we might have dinner on Thursday evening. Well, isn't your husband back from Uganda? Well, I'd better not come to the flat then. You don't see much of him, do you? Yes, that's fine. 8 o'clock. Yes, thank you.
Anything important, Sergeant?
No, sir, just a routine matter.
What do you make of this?
I don't think I remember it, sir.
Unlikely, sir. How brief the memory of mortal man. Nelson Alley, Kensington, just off the Brompton Road. An elderly lady has gone to a far, far better place from which, alas, no traveller returned.
That old biddy who was found in a doorway, sir.
That old biddy, as you call her, Swift, was Lady Geraldine Mosher. Her late husband, Sir Philip, was a distinguished historian and archaeologist of eminence and repute. He died, I believe, of natural causes some 3 years ago, and achieved a 9-inch obituary in the London Times.
Only 3 years, sir. She had come down in the world fast.
She did nothing of the kind. Lady Mosher was left well provided for. And apart from a small fondness for the bottle, which I deduce from the pathologist's report, she seems to have impressed her neighbours as a very worthy woman. And not only worthy, but apparently carefree and well satisfied with her lot.
It's an odd go, sir.
Odd go.
It's just the way I talk. I mean, somebody like that being found in a doorway, sir.
Then take a butcher's at the pathologist's report. Cause of death.
Respiratory paralysis.
15 grains of seconal, which taken in combination with alcohol can produce death within 3 or 4 hours.
Curious and curious, sir.
Exactly, but we're not dealing with Alice in Wonderland. Off you go, Swift, and find out all you can about Lady Mosher.
Everything, sir.
Everything. I think we owe that at least to her distinguished husband's memory.
What the devil's that blue folder?
On the sideboard.
Ah. Something funny about me?
What? No, why?
You were sniggering.
Something in Angela's letter. You've been awfully touchy lately, Tony.
Kiss. You can do better than that.
This time of day?
It's time we had a night out together. Went to the theatre, had dinner at the Normandy.
Love it.
Thursday night?
But you won't be back from the assizes.
Yes, I will. I've only got this one case. It'll be over by then. That's all till next week.
You said you wouldn't be back before the weekend.
Don't you want me home early?
Darling, of course, it's not that. It's just that I've made another appointment for Thursday evening.
Can't you break it?
No, I can't. I only just confirmed it 10 minutes ago.
Anyone I know?
Well, just work. This article I'm writing about prison aftercare. I've just, arranged to see someone about it Thursday evening.
Well, it doesn't sound very important.
It's important to me.
I've hardly seen anything of you since I got back from Uganda.
But you'll be away all the week.
All right.
Oh, darling. I'm sorry.
I still think you could break it.
You can't. People like that don't understand you try to put them off.
People like what?
You know what I mean. Darling, I've got to go now.
More work?
Mm-hmm. If you must know.
I don't know. I hardly seem to see anything of you these days.
Any sort of job, sir. I'm not particular. I've done all kinds of things in my time.
Yes, you certainly have, Swallow.
You mean me little slips, sir? Slips? From grace, as you might say. I'm going straight now, sir.
Since when?
Since the last time I got out of the nick, sir.
That was yesterday.
Well, a man's got to start somewhere.
You seem to have spent most of the past 20 years in the nick, Swallow.
Most of the past 19 years, sir, only since the war. Somehow I was never able to fit back snugly into civilian life after my army service. But it's not as if I ever did anything serious.
Serious or not, Swallow?
Not as if I ever killed anyone, I mean.
Well, anyway, I've got your application form, Swallow. And as soon as anything turns up...
You mean there's nothing for me, sir?
Nothing immediate, no. But keep in touch, Swallow.
I will, sir.
Please, I wonder if you'd mind waiting for me a few minutes outside while I talk to Mr. Wisdom.
I've nothing else to do.
All right, Swallow. The waiting room's just outside.
Oh, thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yes, Mrs. Brown.
I don't want to interfere, but it seems awfully kind to send him off like that. Isn't there anything you can do for him?
23 arrests since 1945, 17 convictions.
Nice day.
Yes, I know, but these are just the facts, coldly stated.
Well, they're just the kind of facts that any prospective employer is bound to take into account.
No, not if he really thinks about it. Perhaps he was forced to steal because no one gave him a chance to earn an honest living.
Too nice a day for sitting in a stuffy office like this.
Oh, it is.
A day for the river, taking one's ease in country parks.
You're right, sir.
Or sitting in the sun outside an inn with a cool tankard of beer in your hand.
I like a bottle of stout myself, sir.
Almost 2 o'clock. Tempus fugit. Nearly closing time.
Would you be willing to employ a man with Swallow's record?
Yes. Obviously, I haven't got a job to offer him.
Oh, I don't think he'd ask much money.
What could he do for me?
He said he'd take anything. You know, these men do a lot of their own housework in prison. Cooking, cleaning.
I'm afraid my husband.
Yes, I'm afraid so, too. But you see what I mean? Oh, no, frankly, I don't blame your husband. Stealing is a kind of compulsion with Swallow. He's a born thief.
Do you think that's true? If stealing's become a compulsion, then there must be some reason for it.
Well, possibly. But I doubt if Swallow himself could tell you what it is.
And perhaps no one's ever asked him. I'll give him a job, if he'll take it.
Oh, what about your husband?
No, I don't mean housework. I'd like to write a special article about someone like Swallow from his point of view. I'll pay him to collaborate with me.
Well, all right. It's not a job, of course. We still have that problem to face. Well, still, I don't see that there's any harm in it. Might even keep him out of mischief for a week or two. Are you sure?
Yes?
Lucy Ann Claude, CBSS. Were you in the army, sir?
No. A slight heart condition deprived me of that great adventure.
I thought the letter CBSS might be some kind of a decoration, sir.
Oh, no. Chairman of the British Spiritualist Society. Purely an honorary position. My colleagues were kind enough to elect me to it.
Spiritualist Society.
This will be your room, Mr. Swallow. I trust it will be satisfactory.
I'm sure it's very nice, sir. When you said spiritualist, does that mean ghosts, sir?
A rough layman's terms with little meaning. After you.
Oh, thank you, sir. Thank you. I can't say I hold with ghosts myself, sir.
Oh, that's because you're not on the right terms with the dead.
I'm not sure I want to be. I find it hard enough getting along with the living.
The dead are our only true friends, Mr. Swallow. They want to help us, if we'll let them.
I'm a Catholic myself.
Then you believe in the world beyond. Excellent.
This employment you were talking about, Mr. Claude, it wouldn't have anything to do with the departed, would it?
No. Your duties will be quite straightforward, Mr. Swallows, quite worldly.
A little light housework was what you said.
Yes, well, my own needs a little, but people come to visit me here. Ladies, people of all kinds come to consult me. Now, if you'll just show them in the room at the end of the hall.
Well, if there's nothing more to it than that.
I'll leave you to make yourself at home.
Oh, thank you, sir.
Take the evening off.
Oh, very kindly, sir.
Is that all your baggage, Mr. Swallow?
Everything I have in the world, sir.
Travel light and you'll travel far.
You've been gone a long time, Sergeant. I was just leaving.
I had a lot to do, sir.
Really?
Lady Geraldine Mosher.
Still an odd girl?
It's more than odd, sir. It's weird.
Proceed.
You were right, sir. She was comfortably off, flat in Kensington, led a very sober and respectable life.
Apart from that small fondness for the bottle.
She didn't drink at all, sir.
But the pathologist report, he said it was a combination of alcohol and barbiturates. Cure.
It seems she was dead set against drinking, sir.
Well, now. It's quite definitely traces of alcohol in the old lady's intestine.
I told you it was odd.
Yes, if I may be permitted one of my small jokes. Very rum.
It gets even rummer, sir. Until a few months ago, Lady Mosher lived very modestly, well within her income. Then suddenly she started drawing out fairly large sums of money from her account. December the 17th, £60. December the 29th, £85. January the 3rd, £56, and so on.
When did you draw the last amount?
Yesterday. She drew £50 in new £1 notes.
And she had no money on her when she was found?
Just a few shillings in the bottom of her bag, and nothing in the flat.
What were her movements last night, Swift?
She left the flat at about 4 o'clock and told the porter she was going to the pictures.
Well, she could hardly have spent £50 at the cinema.
I had a talk with the bank clerk, and he's got a record of the serial numbers.
Circulate them, Sergeant. Circulate them at once.
I already have, sir.
Very interesting. But you used the word weird.
Yes, sir, weird.
What was weird, Sergeant?
These, sir. I got these in the flat.
Love letters.
I suppose you could call them that. They're from her husband, Sir Philip Mosher. Now, it appears they were a very devoted couple, and wrote to each other even if they were parted just for a few days.
What you find weird about that, some marriages, I believe, are quite successful.
Now, they're all in the same handwriting, covering a period of several years. Starting in 1946, when Sir Philip was on expedition in Egypt.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's a long gap. And there are a few from Oxford.
Mm-hmm.
And the last 5 are postmarked London.
Well,
So the dates on these last 5 postmarks is 1964. And Lady Mosher's husband died 3 years ago.
Brand? I thought you'd like to know that I've heard from our old friend Swallow. No, he's not in any trouble, quite the contrary. He's got a job. And he's working as a house servant for a bachelor in Kensington. Yes, does sound rather a change, doesn't it? We're rather pleased. His employer seems a decent sort of man. He's quite taken to Swallow, I think. No, there's no harm in your contacting him. I should think the extra money would come in very useful. I'm sure Swallow has some good stories to tell. Not that you could publish them all, of course. Yes, I can give you the address if you'd like it.
I wanted to see how you're getting on. And I came to offer you a kind of job.
A job? Well, it never rains, but it pours. I've got one already. That'll be the spirits, I expect. Oh, you wouldn't believe the things that go on around here. I'm only here since yesterday, and already I hardly know whether I'm in this world or the next.
Is there anywhere where we could talk, perhaps?
Well, I've got a room of my own. That is, if you don't mind.
No, of course not.
pull yourself together, Peter. I know it must be hard for you to get used to things over there. Very different from what you're accustomed to, but you'll be all right when you find your feet, son.
You mean you want me to talk into that thing?
Yes?
What do you want me to say?
Oh, just tell me all about yourself. All about your life.
And you're going to pay me for that?
Yes, if you agree.
Well, that beats everything.
Are you ready to start?
I am.
Good. Now, just forget about the machine altogether and talk to me. Now, you were released from prison 2 days ago.
Yeah, I got out of the nick on Monday afternoon.
And what was the first thing you did?
I had a bloody good boozer.
You went to a pub.
That's right, the Green Man, off the old Brompton Road. You know the place?
I don't.
Well, it was always a favourite pub of mine. The funny thing, that Monday night, well, I had a bit of luck.
Mm-hmm.
I was coming out of the pub about closing time, and there was this old biddy sitting in Nelson Alley there. Oh, well, it's not really something to talk about, you know.
You've been to prison quite a few times since the war, haven't you?
I have.
And when you come out first, how do you feel?
I beg your pardon?
How does the world look to you?
Ah, yes, I see what you mean. Well, now, it's a very strange place for the first day or two. Not what you're accustomed to at all, until you find your feet.
You can help us, Mother, by believing in us, believing that we're not beyond your reach.
Well, but of course I believe that, Peter, or I wouldn't be here now, would I?
But there aren't enough people like you, Mother. That's why you've got to do everything you can, Mother, to encourage the few living people who do try to reach us, who are willing to act as a bridge between our two worlds.
Encourage them. Don't be so vague, Peter. Come to the point.
Help them to carry on their work, Mother. Help them.
You get out of touch. Now, say you're doing 2 years. Well, you're cut off from the world, aren't you? And when you come out, everyone's got their own troubles. You've nothing much to say to each other, nothing much in common, if you know what I mean.
Isn't there anyone to help you get back in touch?
Oh, there are blokes that make a regular profession of it. They tell you they're going to put you onto a good thing in ICC touch, but half the time they're only out to shock you.
Do you feel that ordinary people are against you?
Well, I wouldn't say that, but they're not for you exactly.
They don't understand?
Well, it's not that I'm looking for sympathy, but I never seem to find it.
The boy has got to learn to stand on his own 2 feet wherever he is.
It's very hard for him, Mrs. Lamb. Can't you imagine how hard it is to be cut off from everything that you're used to? Disembodied.
His father and I sent him to a good public school, Mr. Claude. Discipline, plenty of sports, no modern pampering, hard work. His father said if he could stand it there, he could stand anything.
Well, he was alive then. He had, if I may be permitted the expression, he had 2 feet to stand on.
He'd be alive now if he'd had a better seat.
I beg your pardon.
Hunting, broke his neck. Took a fence over a 3-foot fence.
Oh, how tragic. I am sorry I didn't know.
How much do I owe you?
There'll be no fee, Mrs. Lamb.
No fee. Lady Mosher said it was most expensive.
Oh, no, I never charge for consultations. However, later on, should you feel you would like to encourage the work of our society.
Encourage? You're as bad as the boy, always expecting help.
But you will come again, Mrs. Lamp. You will speak to your son again.
I'll talk to him if he has anything sensible to say to me.
Sensible.
He says he can see us, hear us. From all his talk, he's a veritable fly on the wall. My husband thinks there's too much secrecy in the city these days.
City? Oh, I understand.
No reason why the boy shouldn't make himself useful. Keep him from brooding. It's high time he stopped feeling sorry for himself over there. Plenty of other people in the same boat as he is. Dead, I mean.
Oh, yes, I see what you mean.
If there's one thing I can't stand, it's self-pity, never could. And idleness is always the root of it.
There is one more thing I would like to ask you, Mr. Swallow, and that is, how do you feel when you're going to steal something?
Well, it depends what it is.
How?
Well, say it's just sitting there begging to be taken. Well, it's a lovely warm feeling, like the opening door of a pub on a cold winter's night.
Don't you feel any resentment?
Resentment? Yeah, I see what you mean. When the thing looks as if it might be worth 4 or 5 quid and it turns out it's only plated.
Well, I think we'll have to finish there for today, Mr. Swallow. And I'd like to pay you for your time.
Well, sure, it's been a pleasure, man.
I thought for £2.
Oh, that's very generous, man.
Dear, I've only got a £5 note.
Well, I expect I can change it for you, man. Excuse me.
Well, I'll see you on Friday then, Mr. Swallow.
I look forward to that, ma'am.
You had a visitor, Mr. Swallow?
A lady, she offered me a job.
Well, I hope you're not thinking of leaving me.
Oh, I'm quite satisfied, sir.
Oh, good. Now, I wonder, will you go and post these letters for me?
Certainly, sir. I just get me coat.
No, it's all right. It's quite warm. You won't need a coat.
Oh, very well, sir.
Don't post them in Kensington. Take them up to the central office. They'll get there quicker.
Whatever you say, sir.
The Bijou flower shop in Knightsbridge. Do they know the name of the customer who gave them the £1 note?
Who?
Yes, I've got that. Thank you.
Leaving already, Sergeant?
Yes, sir.
Have you a date with your bird?
No, sir. I'm having dinner with a lady.
Nothing new on Lady Mowbray?
Nothing, sir.
It's very odd that none of those pound notes have turned up at any of the banks yet.
Well, it's only 3 days, sir.
Still,
Perhaps whoever's got them is keeping them out of circulation, sir.
why, the case has never appeared in the papers.
No, sir.
Well, good night, Sergeant. Have a pleasant evening.
Good night, sir.
Is that the bow tie that Mrs. Brand gave you for your birthday?
Yes, sir.
Most becoming. Swift.
Anything I can do for you, Tony?
What had you in mind?
Why, just thought if you couldn't find a handkerchief or something.
They solicited us all of a sudden?
Do stop it, Tony. You're always snapping at me lately.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Perhaps you're working too hard. You were released from prison 2 days ago.
The man I'm interviewing.
That's right, I got out of the nick on Monday afternoon, Charlie. When's this chap coming?
It's not a chap I'm expecting. It's a woman who tries to help people like that.
Thought you said it was a man.
Did I? No.
Yes, you said he wouldn't understand if you put him off.
I said she wouldn't understand. I said she worked very hard all day.
Seems a pity to make her work hard all night, too. Don't wait up for me. I expect we'll play bridge.
I'll give my love to the inspector.
Oh, by the way, have you got any money? I've run myself short.
Yes. There's one here somewhere.
That's fine. Thank you. Sure you can spare it?
Yes, yes, darling, of course. Good night.
Hello? Am I late?
No. No, of course you're not. As a matter of fact, you couldn't have timed it better. Well, shall we have a drink before we go?
You.
Oh, they're lovely. I'm just going to get something to put them in. Why don't you pour us both a drink?
I got them down the street at the Bijou flower shop.
Oh, yes? Did you? I go there, too.
Yes, I know. They told me. You were in there yesterday evening.
That's right.
You gave them a £1 note.
What?
Look, I've got to ask you this. Where did you get it? Where did you get that £1 note?
Are you questioning me officially?
That's right.
Well, why do you want to know? I'm not going to answer unless you tell me.
Look, it was stolen. I'm sorry about this, but about £50 was stolen the other day. They were all in new £1 notes, so we've got a record of the serial numbers. Now, one of them turned up at the bank today. From the flower shop. From you.
Well, how did they know it was from me?
Well, you went in there late yesterday evening. They'd already made up the deposits for that day, so yours went down on a separate slip.
Isn't that fascinating? How one thing leads to another, like a treasure hunt.
Yeah. Do you remember where you got it?
No. No, I don't. It might have been anywhere.
Better go now.
Mm-hmm. I'm just going to get my coat. Anything wrong?
No.
Are you sure you want to take me out?
I asked you out, didn't I?
It's not too late to change your mind.
Why don't you tell me the truth?
The truth is, I was rather looking forward to seeing you.
I mean about that stolen £1 note. You do remember where you got it?
No, I told you I don't remember where I got it.
Do you think I don't know when somebody's lying to me?
I do hate it when you act like this.
Like what?
Like a policeman.
I am a policeman, and no bow tie's going to change that.
We are going to have a charming evening.
Perhaps you're right. We'd better forget it.
I'm coming.
Are you Swallow?
I am.
I'm a police officer. Get your things.
Where are we going?
Down to the station.
Have you got a warrant?
No, I haven't, but I can very soon get one.
Don't worry, it's not important.
Is this yours?
It is.
You better bring it then, hadn't you?
Yeah.
Come on, move!
All right, I'm coming.
Empty your pockets.
There's nothing in them.
Search your pockets.
Oh, all right.
Where did you get these?
I earned them. I'm a working man, haven't I?
You stole them. From an elderly lady outside a pub in the old Brompton Road last Monday night.
Oh, is that so? And what elderly lady was that?
Lady Geraldine Mosher.
Never heard of her.
To my dear friend L.C.
Oh, that was me Uncle Liney. Lionel Cabinet, that was his full name. He left it to me in his will. God rest his soul.
Have you got an Uncle Alice as well, by any chance?
You mean me Aunt Alice, don't you? She's dead too, God rest her.
So's Lady Geraldine Mosher.
Dead? Is she dead? Oh, the poor old biddy.
Are you fond of sweets?
Never touched them.
To whom it may concern.
I've been meaning to see what was in that myself, but I'm not much of a reading man.
I know that I'm doing a terrible thing, but I cannot bear the loneliness. I cannot bear life without my dear husband any longer. I know that he is waiting for me in a better, happier world, and so I have decided to join him. Geraldine Mosher. Where did you get this?
It was in the poor old lady's handbag.
All right, Roberts, take him out and charge him.
Hey, what have I been charged with?
Possession of stolen property. Will do for a start.
Well, that's a nice change. I've never been charged with that before. I hope the accommodation is satisfactory.
Gone to bed.
Have a nice time.
Oh, rotten. I didn't have a decent hand all night.
Oh, well, you can't win every time.
Charles Ray's a crook. He took £2 off me tonight.
I'll get you a drink,
Thank
though.
you.
Did Inspector Rose have anything interesting to say?
No, not much. Lady Mosher's dead.
Who?
Philip Mosher's widow. I don't think you ever met him. He was my tutor at Oxford. Poor old dear was poisoned.
Who was?
Lady Mosher! That's what we're talking about, isn't it? Lady Geraldine Mosher.
All right. There's no need to shout. Oh, darling. How sad.
What?
About Lady Mosher.
Oh, I don't know. I didn't expect she was sorry to die.
Why? Was she ill?
I told you she was poisoned. Poor old dear went round the bend a bit after her husband died. Started going to mediums.
Mediums?
Yes, no, seances. Trying to get in touch with them in the other world.
Well, how awful. I think it's so morbid hanging on to the dead like that.
Why? She loved him. He was her whole life. Can happen, you know, there are marriages in which women devote their whole lives to their husbands.
Really, Tony, just because I had an appointment for one evening.
One evening? You seem to spend your whole life lately hobnobbing with these criminals of yours.
We agreed when we got married that I should go on with my work and that you should go on with yours.
Your work, writing these fiddling articles for women's magazines.
The trouble with you is you don't know what you want, do you? You think that women should be chained to the house like a
No,
bull-
please, not one of your suffragette stories now. Please, I couldn't bear it. I'm tired. I've had a rotten evening. I just want to finish this drink and go to bed.
You've had a rotten evening. I suppose you think it's all my fault that you had lost your game at your stupid bridge game.
Sir?
Constable. Go on. Where on earth did these come from, Constable?
Expect Sergeant Swift left them there, sir.
Very kind of him. I didn't think Sergeant Swift liked liqueur chocolates.
Oh, he confiscated them off a bloke he brought in last night, sir.
Well, finders, keepers. My favourite kind. Oh, what is it, Constable?
There's a report coming, sir, about one of those stolen notes, sir.
Good. Proceed.
It was the taxi driver who reported it, sir.
Does he know from where he got the note?
Yes, sir. He got it off a gentleman. He remembers the gentleman quite well. Apparently he gave him a very generous tip, sir.
Good. And where did he pick up this generous gentleman?
Outside the Greville Club, sir, in Pall Mall.
The Greville Club. I was playing bridge there last night. His description, Constable. You said the taxi driver remembered him quite clearly. Well, read it to me, Constable.
Very good, sir. About 50 years old, sir. Bald, stout. Seemed very pleased with himself. I think he was a bit tiddly. Kept telling me terrible jokes in a rather pompous manner.
About 50 years old, bald, stout, seemed very pleased with himself.
Yes, sir.
In rather a pompous manner.
I'm sorry about last night.
Well, don't worry. I expect it was partly my fault.
No, I shouldn't have questioned you like that. Like a policeman.
You are a policeman.
I think I'd better tell you that after I left you, I arrested that chap Swallow.
What? What for?
He had most of the rest of the stolen money.
How did you... My article. You...
I wouldn't have had to if you told me the truth.
Poor little man. It's so unfair.
He had this as well.
Why, I must have left it in his room.
You'll never learn, will you?
It's people like you who make the swallows of this world because you don't try to understand them. How do you know he stole that money? He may have found it.
He found it all right. In an old lady's handbag. That poor old biddy who was sitting in Nelson Alley.
Has she identified him?
No, she can't.
You see.
She's dead. She was poisoned.
Well, you don't think Swallow
I don't know what
poisoned
to
her?
think. The case isn't closed yet.
Who was she?
Lady Geraldine Mosher.
And what did you do with the rest of the money?
Sure. The sergeant took it away from me, Inspector.
Not all the £50 that you took from Lady Mosher's handbag.
50 quid? Was it that much? You know, I never got round to counting it.
Did you spend any of it?
I don't think so. I may have given a few quid to that lady that came round from the employment office in change for a fiver.
What lady?
Mrs. Bland.
Mrs. Alice Brand.
Yeah, I think that was her name.
Oh, I see. The mystery clears, Constable. Mrs. Brand must have given that money to her husband, and I won £2 of it from him at bridge last night.
Oh, I see, sir. Shall I take him back to his cell, sir?
If you would. Thank you, Mr. Swallow.
Always glad to help, Inspector. I'm glad to see you're enjoying the old lady's sweets.
The old lady's sweets?
I was going to throw them away, but I thought it'd be a pity to waste them.
You mean you found these chocolates in Lady Mosher's handbag?
That's right, Inspector.
Cognac. Kimble. Alcohol. Get me a doctor, Constable.
Sir?
Get those sweets down to the lab and get me a doctor.
Yes, sir.
I've been poisoned. Swift, get a doctor.
Sir?
Get a doctor! I've been poisoned.
Louder. Speak louder. I can hear your voices, my dear friend. There's a lady here who wishes to speak with you. To which of the dead do you wish to speak to, dear lady?
To my aunt.
And what is your aunt's name?
Lady Geraldine Mosher.
Lady Geraldine Mosher. Are you there, Lady Geraldine?
Yes, I'm here. Who is it? Who is trying to reach me?
It's your niece, Aunt Geraldine, your niece Alice.
Alice, my dear. It's so lovely to hear from you.
How are you, Aunt Geraldine?
It's cold here, Alice. Cold and dark. The women who have been here longer than I have say that you get used.
Yes, well, I'm sorry to interrupt you, Aunt Geraldine, but I've got something terribly important to ask you.
What is it, my dear?
The police have arrested a little man named Swallow. They think he poisoned you, and I think he didn't.
Of course he didn't, dear. I poisoned myself.
Why?
I couldn't bear the loneliness, my dear. I couldn't bear to live without my dear husband.
I don't believe you. I don't care what you say. You didn't do it yourself, but I've got a damn good idea now who did poison you.
What?
You got mixed up with a lot of fake spiritualist nonsense. And when you realized that you were being swindled, you threatened to expose the whole rotten... Right. What are you doing? No, keep away. Put those lights on.
See if you've got anything on him and call me back. Thank you.
I'm sorry about the Inspector, Sergeant. I'd no idea there was anything wrong with them sweets.
Well, why didn't you tell me you got them out of Lady Mosher's handbag?
Well, I'd have been glad to tell you, but you never asked me. I hope the poor gentleman recovers all right.
Yes, so do I.
What do you think was in them?
Well, barbiturates, probably injected into the chocolates with a hypodermic.
Is that terrible poison?
With alcohol.
Oh, dear, and that's how the poor old lady died, too.
Yes. Joe Dilk, yeah. Alias Rupert Fitzgerald, yeah. Alias Tristram Sylvester. Alias Lucian Claude, that's him. Swindler. Confidence man, 3 convictions, yeah. Embezzlement. Fraudulent impersonation. Forgery. That's fine. Thank you.
Hey, Sergeant, what about me?
Get back to your cell. Lucian Claude.
Good day.
I'm a police officer. Okay.
Stop rescuing me!
Somebody's got to, if you'll keep sticking your neck into things that don't concern you. Turn over. Turn over!
Oh! No!
Then undo your hands. Good morning, sir.
Morning.
I hope you're feeling better, sir.
A little, thank you.
I'll brought you some grapes, sir.
How very kind of you. The next time you wish to poison Miss Swift, I do wish you to avoid barbiturates or make a thorough job of it. The process of resuscitation is very distressing.
I'm sorry, sir.
That man Swallow, has he been brought to trial yet?
He's been released, sir.
On whose authority?
Magistrate's court. Somebody came forward on his behalf and he was let off with a caution.
Someone came forward. Who?
Oh, some well-meaning sort of lady, sir.
Some people will never learn from experience, will they, Swift?
No, sir. Would you like a grape now?
Sure. Well, I suppose we should trust our fellow creatures sometime.
Yes, sir.
For you.